What's up, Fantasy Pros? My name is Andrew Erickson, and today I'm going to be breaking down identifying 10 players to target in trades before Week 2 kicks off. But before I get in my list of 10 players, if you want a chance to win a signed Tyreek Hill Miami Dolphins jersey, courtesy of bettingpros.com, your place to start betting smarter and not harder, all you have to do is subscribe to the Fantasy Pros YouTube channel right now, comment below in this video, and that's it. We'll be announcing a winner right here on the channel. So make sure to turn on those notifications so you can be alerted when new episodes are up and to claim your prize. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get to the list of trade targets. Running back Rem Stevenson, Patriots. Buy. Rem Stevenson earned 6 targets as the team's leader with 64 receiving yards, tied with Kendrick Bourne in Week 1. But the Patriots kept forcing passes to Ezekiel Elliott, who totaled 5 grand catches for a measly 12 yards on 7 targets. Both running backs were horrible on the ground as the Eagles' defensive line overmatched the Patriots' offensive line. All that considered, Stevenson still finished with 18 touches and nearly 90 yards with a 72% snap share. That's a win, because the difference between a Stevenson target generating 10 yards and a Zeke target creating 2 yards has me convinced the Elliott targets are not here for the long run. Stevenson doubled his routes run. There's no way Elliott will continue to be targeted at a 40% route run basis. Buy low on Stevenson amid the Elliott interference with a juicy matchup on deck versus Miami Dolphins' horrible run defense that allowed 234 rushing yards in Week 1. Trade Josh Jacobs or DK Metcalf for Stevenson. Next up, running back Derrick Henry, Tennessee Titans, sell. Running back Derrick Henry rushed for 63 yards on 15 carries in Week 1, while rookie Tyjae Spears totaled 27 yards on just 3 carries. Spears was also more involved as a receiver with 4 targets and doubling the routes. And the rookie outsnapped Henry 54% versus 48% overall. The last time we saw Henry see a sub 50% snap share was in a Week 2 blowout loss last year against the Bills. Spears threatening Henry in any capacity is going to hurt the big dog's bottom line fantasy value, because Henry needs more carries to destroy teams in second halves of games. Any rushes he is not getting is a major red flag. Spears' presence is going to hurt Henry, whose fantasy value was already in limbo behind one of the league's worst offensive lines. Week 1 was also the last time Henry saw fewer than 16 carries in a game in the recent memory. To make matters worse, Spears' overall touch volume has room to grow because he only touched the ball 4 times with a heavy snap rate. Move Henry for wide receiver Tee Higgins or this next buy low running back. Running back Jahmyr Gibbs, Lions. Buy. Jahmyr Gibbs was up and down in his rookie debut. He flashed explosiveness and speed that we fell in love with during the draft process, but his overall usage wasn't there for fantasy. He earned 37% of the team's expected fantasy value to David Montgomery's 63%. He was outsnapped 27% to 77%, with Monty seeing 21 touches. However, had Gibbs scored instead of tripping over himself, fantasy managers wouldn't be complaining. As steady as David Montgomery is, he's not a true difference maker. Gibbs totaled 60 yards on just 9 touches, 6.6 yards per touch. If Montgomery had not scored, they would have posted nearly identical fantasy point totals. Gibbs totaled 7 points in half PPR scoring, 0.37 fantasy points per snap. That tied with Josh Jacobs last year. Go trade for Gibbs now. The coaching staff has already talked about him easing in Week 1 and how they expect to see his workload to grow in the coming weeks. Grab him with Aaron Jones or this next must-sell running back. Running back Alexander Madison, Minnesota Vikings. Madison had an underwhelming performance with 11 carries for 34 yards, but salvaged his day with a receiving touchdown. He outtouched Ty Chandler 14-4 with a 73% snap share. Still, Chandler looked explosive on his 18-yard catch and run. Madison totaled just 10 yards on 4 targets through the air. Sell high if you can. He faces the Eagles' run defense Thursday night. You don't want that, especially with the Vikings dealing with multiple offensive line injuries. Both Garrett Bradbury and Christian Darrisaw left in Week 1. Not ideal for a short week. The Buccaneers defense terrorized Kirk Cousins, going to be the same story in Week 2 versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Move Madison for Rachaad White, Jahan Dotson, or this next wide receiver. Wide receiver Tee Higgins, Bengals, buy. The entire Bengals offense was a disaster in Week 1. It was wet, Joey Bags was rusty after missed time, just burn the tape and move on. Especially for Tee Higgins. Higgins is the first player since 2015 Amari Cooper to post 0 catches on 8 targets. Next week, Cooper went 6 for 120 and 2. Considering Higgins saw plenty of air yards, 151 to 64%, he is literally the definition of a buy low wide receiver in the air yards model, coming off a 95% snap share. This Ravens banged up secondary is in for a rude awakening in Week 2. Acquire Higgins on the cheap with an Aaron Rodgers-less Garrett Wilson, or maybe this next sell wide receiver coming off a boom game. Wide receiver Michael Pittman Jr., Colts. Michael Pittman Jr. posted strong stats in week 1, 8 catches, 11 targets, 97 yards, and a 28% target share, but a large portion came from a 39-yard-long catch and run touchdown, making him a sell-high candidate in my estimation. The Anthony Richardson lumps as a rookie passer is going to make Pittman inconsistent. Case in point, he had 0 catches in the first half on 1 target. Use Pittman to get access to another player that also saw alpha usage in week 1 that's a screaming buy low. Wide receiver DJ Moore, Chicago Bears. Buy. The biggest surprise for the Bears in week 2, just 2 targets and 1 on a 2-point conversion for DJ Moore. Bruh. And that came despite a 92% snap share and 94% route participation. It might have been the Jair Alexander treatment that kept him from being involved, but how can you trade for this guy as the Bears and not target him? This will not last. It works in Chicago's favor that they have a Tampa Bay Buccaneers secondary in week 2. Moore has faced them many times in the past. The last time he faced them, Moore blew up for 117 yards on 6 catches and 1 touchdown on 10 targets. And remember that we don't need to be concerned about the lack of passing volume in the Bears offense. In week 1, the Bears quarterback, Justin Fields, attempted 37 pass attempts. That was more than any game he had all last season. The fact that the passing volume, accompanied by a bad defense, is going to lead to better days for Chicago's number 1 wide receiver. However, better days may not be ahead for this former starting running back. Running back, Cam Akers, Los Angeles Rams, sell. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Not again. Second-year running back Kyren Williams was playing well ahead of Cam Akers in the first half of week 1. Williams scored 2 rushing touchdowns and carried the ball 15 times for 52 yards. He finished with 5 red zone carries. Meanwhile, Akers earned a whopping 22 carries for 29 yards. Woof. But he scored. And his big carry totals look nice. But let's be real here. It's not nice. Akers had 4 carries in the first half to Williams' 8. Overall, he got outsnapped 65% to 35%. Williams got 2 targets to Akers' none. Akers ran 4 routes to Williams' 29. Sean McVay comes and goes with his player usage, but his hot-cold affair with Akers is beyond frustrating. I'd cash out after he posted 20-plus carries and scored. The only reason I'd buy is if someone is willing to sell it for next to nothing, because McVay has flipped the script on us before with Akers and Williams. Akers went from a 30% snap share to a 72% snap share last year, while Williams went from a 72% snap share to a 28% snap share for no apparent reason. But it's still so risky, especially with the 49ers' elite run defense up next. Get out of this Rams backfield business now. Elijah Moore, Cleveland Browns, buy. Elijah Moore and Amari Cooper each saw 7 targets for a 24% target share in week 1, but efficiency was an issue with inaccurate throws from Deshaun Watson and the weather was horrible. Still, Elijah Moore led with the most yards and was frequently moved around the formation. He also led the team in route participation at 86%. Donovan Peoples-Jones played the most snaps, but had just 1 catch. I wouldn't mind buying low on some of these Browns wide receivers after the Pittsburgh Steelers secondary got ripped to shreds by 49ers Brock Purdy. Moore's the guy I would go after in trade after really encouraging usage in week 1 that did not translate into a ton of fantasy production. Also, he can be acquired very cheaply. Sell a hot waiver wire guy, the aforementioned Cam Akers, or this next wide receiver plus to go scoop up Elijah Moore. Wide receiver Mike Evans, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, sell. Mike Evans had a boom game with 6 receptions for 66 yards and 1 28-yard touchdown on 10 targets. Sell high on these boom or bust wide receivers after they boom. Evans won't see a 50% air yard share every single week. Use the Juicy Bears matchup as the perfect selling point to move Evans in a trade deal. I think you can get Christian Watson off a missed week 1 for Evans, or take a shot on another boomer bust Big Mike in Mike Williams for the Chargers, who also had a good week 2 matchup with a major upgrade at quarterback when he faces the Tennessee Titans. That concludes my list of 10 players to trade before week 2. If you enjoyed this content, be sure to give it a like, subscribe, and share with all your friends. Be sure to check out FantasyPros.com for the week 2 rankings. But before you go, remember, if you want a chance to win a signed Tyreek Hill Miami Dolphins jersey, courtesy of bettingpros.com, your place to start betting smarter and not harder, all you have to do is subscribe to the Fantasy Pros YouTube channel right now, comment below on this video, and that's it. We'll be announcing a winner right here on the channel. So make sure to turn on those notifications so you can be alerted when new episodes are up and to claim your prize. Thanks for watching.